Hello, my friends. Today's topic is really interesting. It's called building your virtual presence. Now, some people might ask, why do I really need to build up my virtual presence? What's this all about? Well, friends, in today's world where everything is going virtual is the future. All the meetings are going to happen virtually, all the presentations are going to happen virtually, every client interaction is going to happen virtually, education is going to happen virtually, all product launches and meetings and seminars and appraisals, everything is going virtual. And the way we were talking about making sure your communication skills are up to the mark when you're meeting people in person, it's imperative to now focus on the virtual communication or the virtual presence. How do you really get across your point of view, your ideas across the screens to a number of people and make sure people get influenced or convinced with you? So today's session is all about creating that impact over virtual platforms. Here's a beautiful thought by a distinguished writer. His name is Dr. Gregory Burns. He says, a person can have the greatest ideas in the world, but if that person can't present well, it doesn't matter because the idea doesn't get across. And if it doesn't get across, doesn't get people convinced, it never comes into action. And the idea remains and dies as an idea. So today we are going to discuss, if you have amazing ideas, you have amazing thoughts in your mind, how do you get them across even on the virtual platform? Now, firstly, let's talk about what communication actually is. Communication, simply, is the ability to connect, share relevant information, and derive meaningful outcomes. There are three important aspects of any kind of communication, including virtual communication. It is the ability to connect. So the people should be able to connect with that communication. That communication piece should share some relevant information. And the focus is on sharing. That means it's two ways. So in spite of the platform being virtual, we have to take all measures to ensure that that information exchange is happening both ways and derive meaningful outcomes. It must lead to a meaningful outcome, a result, an action. And if we have all these three into a segment of communication, that communication is an absolutely wonderful, perfect communication. Now let's move our focus to what is virtual communication. And if you are agreeing with me so far, just type I agree in the chat box right there. Amazing. All right, so let's understand what is virtual communication. Virtual communication could be recognized as the modern technological phenomenon through which the transmission of information or action is achieved to remote or distant locations around the world. In a nutshell, if I were to tell this to you all, communication, we all know what it talks about. It talks about different aspects of getting across your ideas to the other person, to the recipient of your message, so that there is an action on it. And that action which is desired by you as well as the recipient. Now, virtual communication is just a change of medium where there is no in-person meeting or in-person communication, but your communications are going through a virtual platform, maybe a phone call or maybe a video call particularly. Now, all of us who have been experts and who have done wonders when it would come to in-person meetings or convincing people over phone calls, we have done it all. And we have been amazingly successful in that. Now, when we talk about virtual video platforms, the greatest challenges that people in the last few months have shared with us is the fact that when they are speaking to people in person, it's very easy for them to connect. And like communication says, is the ability to connect. They're able to connect really well with the people when they're talking in person. But when they're speaking into the camera to somebody, it's so difficult and they feel so awkward, and they know that they have all the good ideas inside them, but they're not able to present it well. Now, today we are going to talk about what are those ideas that can help me build up my confidence of getting camera friendly. If you're ready, say ready in the chat box, and then I bring it up to you. All right, quickly, write down, yes, I'm ready. Wonderful. So now we're going to talk about how to get camera friendly. And we are going to talk about some amazing ideas. Now, there are going to be 6 P's that we're going to talk about. All right. The first one being pleasant. The first P stands for pleasant. That means on the camera, you have to appear pleasant. And the simplest way to do that is to smile. The moment you smile, you create such pleasant environment around you. The people on the other side of the camera also start feeling a connection. Communicating over a camera or over a video call or through webinars or through these virtual channels is not just a challenge for the speaker, it is a challenge for the recipient as well. But when the speaker creates this pleasant environment, it becomes very, very easy for the recipient also to feel connected and comfortable with that. And it's very easy. You just have to feel confident and happy and show that on the camera. If that's great, give me a thumbs up on the chat box. I'm waiting. All right, that's the first P. All right, awesome. We move on to the second one, which is passion. So you have to show that passion and energy. And when you are presenting, and the conviction that you show even on the camera definitely shows there. So don't be scared of the camera. Just look into the camera and then let that passion come out of you. Let that energy, let that high energy come out of you. And the impact that energy then creates over the camera is amazing, amazing. So it is going to be really, really easy if you work from a space of passion and create a pleasant environment. And it becomes really, really comfortable for you also to speak up and get across your ideas. All right, let's move on to the third one. And third one is really interesting. Let me bring it up for you. It's called personalize. Now, what does this mean? Well, some people come up and say that challenge that I have is when I look into the camera, I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody, and what that means is that I'm not able to strike that instant connect. And when that connection doesn't strike, I'm just at a loss of words. Now, a simple idea to do that is to personalize. So what happens is when you are preparing yourself for virtual calls, or virtual meetings, or communicating over virtual channels, have some pictures around you. The setup that you have of speaking, have some pictures around you of the dear and near ones of yours, your team members, your family members, your pets, your friends. Have those pictures pasted here and there. And when you are speaking, occasionally look at those pictures. So what you're doing, you're personalizing the camera in terms of, yes, so you're not looking at the camera, but you're looking at those different people. Now, it's a simple exercise and quite relaxing as well. And what it really helps us to do is being more comfortable with the camera. So the camera doesn't exist any longer. So what we are doing, we are as if we are talking to live people. And the more we practice with that personalization of the camera, the better we get at looking at the camera and talking as if we are talking to people in person. So this technique has really, really helped a lot of people, and I'm sure it is going to be beneficial for you as well. If you think the same, say I agree in the chat box. All right, wonderful, great. Let's move on to the fourth P. Are you ready for the fourth P? Right, I am ready for fourth P. Just write I am ready in the chat box. Great. All right, so let's move on to the next one, which is posture. Now, posture plays a very important role. And these are the acceptable postures that you can have while you're working and while you're presenting over virtual platforms. So upright sitting, which is like you're sitting on a chair and your back is straight, your spine is straight, and you are absolutely horizontal. Your base of sitting is absolutely horizontal and parallel to the ground, and you're working in the right posture. The second kind is declined sitting. Your base of the sitting is a little declined, but it's comfortable, and your spine is also erect. Now that's also a very, very comfortable and apt position. The third is reclined sitting, where your back gets a little reclined towards the back. It's a little comfortable. So after sitting for a very long time with a spine erect, it gives a little bit of comfort and relaxation if you can do a little reclining on that. And the fourth one is a standing one. Again, a very important posture when it comes to presenting. We usually present while we are standing. I'm standing even right now as well. And this gives a very different kind of energy that comes into your entire personality. And when that energy is there, you're able to present well, you're able to have your hand movements, your gestures, your high energy, your pitch. You're able to have all of those together. So while you're sitting and doing, adapt these three postures and nothing apart from them. And while you're standing and doing it, have this standing erect with spine straight posture. Now, how does posture help? Of course, it helps you build up a lot of energy, a lot of gesture movement, a lot of flexibility. What it also helps you is that it keeps you feeling comfortable. It keeps you feeling comfortable. You don't strain yourself. You don't strain your body while you're presenting. You don't become too much of anxious. And when you adapt these postures, it is really, really helpful. Tried and tested, and I'm sure it is going to help you as well. So wonderful. Let's move ahead. If we must move ahead, say bring it on, write BIO in the chat box. Okay, wonderful. I'm waiting for that. All right, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so let's move on to the next one, which is the fifth one. And the fifth one here is preparation. Like all kinds of communication, even virtual communication is impactful when our preparation is apt. What does preparation account into? It talks about how much do you know about the subject, what all aids do you want to use with it, who is your audience, know about them, what's the timeline, what's the focus, what is going to be the outcome of it. So we work on all those things in the preparation. Because while you're presenting over the virtual platforms like other platforms, or a live session also, or a live meeting or live communication, preparation is what helps you build your confidence. Because you have all the ingredients to be presented, and you have prepared it well, you have worked on your on your challenges, you have worked on different things that can stop you from making a wonderful presentation, and you are much more confident and you just want to bring it on. So preparation is the key. Like any other platform, even virtual platform requires you to prepare well, and in fact it wants you to prepare more than any other platform, because here we have challenges of one-in-one connection not being in place, and we must cover it up with a lot of preparation. If you're prepared while you are communicating, while you're presenting, you'll not be focused about, okay, what will come after this and what was I supposed to do here, but you will be only focused on creating that connect with the audience, which is of utmost criticality over virtual platforms. So preparation really helps you to do that. And that brings us to the last P of creating magic over virtual platforms. And the last one here goes without saying is practice, champions. The more you practice, the more expert you become. The more you practice, the more easy it becomes. The more you practice, the more magic you can create over virtual platforms. And that magic can be as good as you were speaking to somebody one-on-one or personally, like live you are speaking to them. So practice is something that helps you become more comfortable with your own self while speaking on the camera as well. So when you start practicing over the camera, you become more and more camera friendly. Camera becomes your friend. Then you use personalization also, and you have pictures all around, and that also helps you build more connect with the camera. And when you practice more and more with all the preparations in hand and all the 5 other things in hand, your practice makes you do things absolutely magically, absolutely wonderfully well. And when you do those practice things and you have preparation right there, you have personalization right there, you're passionate while you're presenting, and your posture is right, and you are also smiling and creating a pleasant environment while you're doing all of that, champions, and you practice really well, you become an expert like the way you were while you were dealing with customers, your different stakeholders, your family members, people in social circles, as if you were doing it earlier with them while one-on-one meetings are going on. And you'll be able to do that even on virtual platforms now, because now virtual has become your dear friend with these amount of practices and all of that. Yes, champions? All right, so if you find that, yes, practice really helps me become much more efficient, much more expert, much more comfortable, and much more energized and geared up to communicate over the virtual channels, let me ask you to write down, yes, I'm ready, in the chat box right there. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, let's move on to the summary of what we discussed so far. We talked about 6 P's to get people fall in love with you on camera. The first one being, be pleasant, smile at them. Passion, presented with a lot of passion, champions. Personalized means you have to get ready to look into the camera, have some pictures around it so that you have a comfortable environment around you. Posture, focus on your posture. It helps you build a lot of confidence, a lot of personality, a lot of good presence over the camera. Also helps you to relax. What is also important is preparation. Do prepare well, have all your information, your aids, everything in place, and practice, practice, practice. Practice is what will get you absolute camera friendly no matter what the situation is. And champions, with this, I am sure with these 6 P's that we have discussed so far, these ideas would make it much more easier and comfortable for you to look into the camera and speak to people as if they were sitting right in front of you. Isn't it amazing how these 6 simple ideas can bring absolute magic into our lives? If you agree, just say, I agree in the chat box. Okay, I'm waiting, I am waiting. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Now, champions, with these, I have a very important message for you. Now, there's somebody in HDFC Bank who is very, very focused on creating a community of people who are passionate, who are learners, and who are doers, who are action takers. This lady's name is Priyanka Thakur, and she is building up a community of people who can help her to understand what's their plan to use the learnings of this session. So help her understanding in the session what all ideas you learned, what all you're going to use, and how do you plan to use them. Write an email to her on priyanka.thakur@hdfcbank.com, and she'll be very, very happy to have your responses sent across. And with these champions, I would like to say a big, big thank you to you for making out time for this learning bite. This definitely shows you are an amazing, amazing learner. And if you wish to go on more such joy rides of learning, please do connect with us on different social platforms. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. My name is Yasha Vatsa, and you can search me with Yasha Vatsa Star Consulting on LinkedIn, and I'll be very happy to connect with you. With this session, champion, I hope and I am sure that these ideas will definitely give you an edge of presenting and communicating over virtual platforms. And in case you have any queries, you can definitely reach out to me. And with this, I wish you all the very best of presenting and communicating over virtual platforms. And I wish you great health and happiness all through. Thank you so much, champions. Namaste.